I am here to make you aware of dyslexia. English teachers simply do not get enough training on dyslexics. At most, they'll be given a paper to read on them, like reading the sign at the zoo. Dyslexia is a neurological disorder, meaning it does not stem from lack of intelligence, nor does it cause lack of intelligence. It affects hand-eye coordination, knowing left from right, spelling, telling different letters apart like B and D, Q and P, and in some cases words can move around on the paper. The difficulties dyslexics deal with daily go beyond the obvious view. Dyslexia shatters self-esteem, crushes courage, and fractures faith in oneself. How would you like to live in a world where you are constantly being put down for adding an extra R in father and not knowing the difference between there and there? The English education system is against dyslexics. It is in telling us from the age of 4 that our handwriting should be joined up and neat, spelling should be on point, and capital letters in the perfect places. Well, there's a woman in London who works for HSBC. Her name is Lola Nunovo, and she is the Chief Operating Officer for HSBC's global banking and marketing sectors, one of the most profitable sectors in one of the biggest banks in the world, and she writes in block capitals. A very important role, and the person filling it writes only in capitals, proving that handwriting in spag isn't everything today. Does anyone remember the plastic tile toys from when they were younger, where you'd have to move around the parts to rearrange them? Well, for someone with dyslexia, they would be almost impossible. They would see every single move all at once, or not even know where to start, whereas for someone without dyslexia, they would easily see one move at a time. A real-life example might be my first draft of this speech. Paragraphs were in the wrong order, half on one page, half on the other, some not even finished. Similarly, I use a laptop in blank lined paper tests because I'm terrified of lined paper. In a test, you're expected to write at least 2 sides of a piece of paper. And that terrifies me because even if I've been planning on what to write and in what order, I never know when to start. The page gets bigger and bigger, and my mind goes blank until I can finally get one point to paper. It really hurts me when people don't understand dyslexics, or don't even try to understand us. 10% of the population is dyslexic, and only 3% see that as a positive thing. 10%. That's at least 24 people in our year. But when a teacher makes a comment about your English ability, it really shows how times aren't changing as we thought. However, less people suffer with social anxiety. I am not saying that social anxiety isn't worth supporting, because it is a big problem in today's society. However, if something is complex and negative, as social anxiety can have whole departments devoted to in some schools, why can't we just teach English teachers the basics on dyslexics? At primary school, my Senko tested me for dyslexia 3 times. Each time she said I did not have dyslexia. I had been showing signs for years, but it was only when we hired a trained professional to test me that I was finally diagnosed, showing either my primary school's flaws of method, or they were just not trained well enough. In a Year 9 drama lesson, I wrote a fantastic piece of analysis. I asked my teacher to read through it, and the first thing he said was, "Come on, Sian, capital letters. Even a Year 2 could do that. Raise your hand if being compared to a 7-year-old would hurt just because you forgot capital letters." Similarly, a Year 2 at my primary school was told that he needed psychiatric help because apparently he was badly behaved, when in fact, he was just dyslexic. So, how can the world change to live side by side with dyslexics, as they should be? Firstly, never call us names like unintelligent or stupid, and don't say that we've done something wrong, say that we can improve. And don't treat us like there's something wrong with us or we're different. Secondly, the education system must change. We have been told all our lives to be grammatically correct and have on-point spelling. But how can we when we were quite literally born wired differently? If dyslexia is good enough for MI5, GCHQ and Albert Einstein, and an entrepreneur such as Richard Branson can create one of the most successful companies in the world, surely it's about time that our difference is embraced and we are encouraged to think differently. So teachers, look at the content of your students' writing, not the spag. Because if you ask me, judging someone by their spag, not content, it's just like judging a book by its cover. Thank you. Has anyone got any questions?
So clearly you don't consider dyslexia as a disability, and I'm really proud of you about that. But how do you use your dyslexia to your advantage?
I haven't personally used it yet, but it was said that dyslexics were used during World War I and World War II to crack codes, because we think differently to other people. We see things in a different order to someone without dyslexia. Heidi?
Do is the government that needs to change for like actual teachers in schools?
Well, if you think about it, it's part of the government that helps to teach teachers. So yes, I think it should be the government that should be changing the teaching programs in universities for trainees. Sylvie?
Do you believe that like dyslexic people should have different exams? Not because like you can't do like the same standard of exams as other people, but just because that would like I don't know, like help your needs. Like your needs are different to other people. So would that be more understanding, or would you feel like that's more exclusive? Like it would make you feel.
I think the content should be the same, but in terms of, I did my SATs at primary school with yellow paper, because yellow is my dyslexic colour, and some people can have the font bigger, but like I said, the content should all be the same because you're all learning the same thing in lessons. Any other questions? Deary?
What happens during dyslexia test?
Well, it can be different for different people, but like I use yellow glasses or yellow paper or a laptop. Some people can have a scribe or a reader, or they can have there's these new pens that have been made where it reads the lines for you. You just have to use earphones. Dan?
Do you agree with the idea that exams should focus on content entirely instead of focusing on the different sort of components of writing, the actual handwriting? And because tests and exams are to test for your knowledge and understanding, and not your presentation or written work. Anyway.
There is a stereotype that doctors have bad handwriting, and they're very knowledgeable in their department. So handwriting can't be everything if doctors are paid so much. Paediatric doctors get paid around $100,000 a year. So if your handwriting's bad, it doesn't really matter.